The galaxy was at war. For years, humans and many alien species had fought bitter battles across distant stars. Explosions flashed in the darkness of space, and planets trembled as armies clashed for control. Amid all this chaos, Captain Elias Morgan, a human soldier, was known for his courage and kindness. He had seen much destruction, but he always tried to save lives, no matter the cost. Elias's mission that day was simple. He and his small squad needed to rescue stranded civilians from a battle-torn moon called Calaris IV. Smoke still rose. From the burning forests, and broken metal was scattered across the rocky ground. The sky was filled with the wreckage of destroyed ships, and everywhere Elias could see evidence of a recent terrible battle. Elias's dropship landed with a hard jolt. He opened the hatch and stepped out, his boots crunching on shattered glass. His eyes scanned the area, searching for movement, but it was quiet. Almost too quiet. His squad spread out, looking for survivors. Suddenly, Elias's communicator crackled. A faint, desperate signal reached his ears. A rescue beacon, barely strong enough to be heard. It wasn't human. The voice was strange, musical, filled with panic and pain. "Help. Royal transport down. Need medical. She's dying." Elias looked around. The others hadn't heard it. The signal was private, sent just to him somehow. He frowned. He was supposed to follow orders and stick with his team, but something deep inside told him to check it out. He followed the signal, pushing through twisted metal and ruined trees. The air smelled of smoke and burnt fuel. Finally, after a long search, he found the wreckage of a small alien ship, half buried under fallen branches. The hull was painted in swirling blue and gold, the colors of the Ilarian royal house, a peaceful race, almost destroyed in the war. Inside the wreck, Elias saw two figures. One was a young alien woman lying motionless on a stretcher, her skin pale and glowing faintly. She wore a torn dress, decorated with strange symbols. Her hair floated softly around her head, shining silver even in the darkness. Her chest rose and fell slowly, barely alive. Beside her was an old Ilarian medic. The medic's hands shook as he tried to fix a broken medical device. When he saw Elias, his eyes widened with hope and fear. "You... human?" the medic asked, struggling with the words. Elias nodded. "I'm here to help," he said, carefully approaching. He dropped his weapon, showing he meant no harm. "What happened?" The medic pointed to the young woman. "Princess Lysira, our last hope, badly wounded, needs blood. No Ilarian left to give." Elias knelt beside the princess. She looked so fragile, like she might break if touched. Her skin, usually a soft blue, was nearly white now. He could see strange, bright veins under her skin, pulsing weakly. "Is there anything I can do?" Elias asked, desperate to help. The medic hesitated. "There is old legend, only very rare human blood. Maybe help. Dangerous. Never done before. She will die soon if nothing done." Elias thought quickly. He knew he could die if something went wrong. But leaving the princess to die didn't feel right. He glanced at the medic, then back at Lysira. Her eyelids fluttered, and she whispered something too quiet to hear. "My blood type is O negative," Elias said. "It's rare. For humans. Test me. Please." The medic's hands trembled as he checked Elias's blood with a small scanner. The screen blinked and beeped, showing strange symbols Elias didn't understand. The medic stared, shocked. "It matches," he whispered. Elias nodded, taking a deep breath. "Then do it. We have no time." With quick hands, the medic set up the transfusion. He inserted a needle into Elias's arm, connecting a thin tube to Lysira's vein. As the first drops of human blood flowed into her, the machine's whirred and lights blinked. The medic watched closely, afraid of what might happen. For long minutes, nothing changed. Then, slowly, Lysira's chest rose more deeply. Her skin glowed a little brighter, and her fingers twitched. The medic gasped. She's responding. It's working. At least for now. Elias smiled, but then a sudden dizziness hit him. His vision blurred, and he swayed in his seat. The medic tried to pull the needle out, but Elias shook his head. No, keep going. She needs more. The machines began to beep rapidly. Readings spiked. The medic shouted for Elias to stop, but Elias gritted his teeth. He thought of all the people he had lost in this war, all the innocents who suffered because of hate and fear. If he could save even one life, maybe things could change. Finally, when Elias felt he could go no further, the medic stopped the transfusion. Lysira's breathing was strong now. Her eyes fluttered open, glowing with a deep golden light. She stared at Elias, confused, but alive. But something was wrong. Elias felt a strange warmth inside him, as if energy was flowing backward from Lysira into his veins. He tried to speak, but his voice faded. The world spun, and he fell to the floor, unconscious. When Elias woke up, he was on a different ship, a small Ilarian medical vessel, moving quickly through the stars. The medic was there, watching over him. Lysira sat by his side, her wounds healed, her color restored. She looked different somehow, her eyes brighter, her presence stronger. Where am I? Elias asked weakly. Safe, for now, the medic replied. But there is more. Something happened during the transfusion. You and Lysira, you are connected now. More than just blood. Lysira reached out, her fingers trembling. As she touched Elias's hand, a sudden wave of feeling passed between them. Fear, gratitude, hope. Elias gasped. He could feel her thoughts, her emotions, as if they were his own. I don't understand, Elias whispered. What's happening to me? The medic shook his head. I do not know. This has never happened, but you saved her life. For us, that means everything. The war may not be over, but perhaps now there is hope. Lysira leaned closer. Thank you, she whispered, her voice gentle but strong. You risked your life for me, a stranger. I will never forget. As the ship carried them away from the battlefield, Elias stared out at the stars. He felt different, stronger, but also uncertain. What had he done? Was he still himself, or something new? He didn't know, but deep inside he hoped he had started something good. But unknown to them, word was spreading among the Ilarian survivors. Some called Lysira's survival a miracle, a sign of change. Others whispered of danger, of forbidden magic and broken laws. There were those who feared the human blood in their princess, and those who saw an opportunity to use the bond for their own plans. As Elias closed his eyes, he realized his life had changed forever. Whatever happened next, he and Lysira would face it together. Two souls, now connected by the most unlikely gift of all. And far away, leaders of both the human and Ilarian armies heard rumors of the miracle on Calaris 4. Some saw hope. Others saw a threat. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. The bond between Elias and Lysira had already begun to change the fate of the galaxy in ways no one could predict. Elias woke up slowly. He felt the soft thrum of engines and a gentle movement, as if he was floating on water. When he opened his eyes, the bright ceiling lights of the Ilarian medical ship made him blink. His arm was bandaged, and he felt weak but alive. Sitting beside him was Lysira, her silver hair brushed neatly, her blue skin glowing softly with new life. She looked at Elias with both wonder and confusion. There was something different about her now. Her eyes glowed golden, and she seemed stronger than before. When Elias tried to sit up, Lysira reached out, and he felt a sudden rush of warmth and courage fill his heart. "How do you feel?" Lysira asked gently, her voice like music. Elias tried to answer, but he felt emotions inside that were not his own: fear, hope, gratitude, and even a little curiosity. For a moment, he thought he was dreaming, but as Lysira squeezed his hand, the feelings became clearer. Somehow, he could sense her thoughts and feelings. He was connected to her in a way he couldn't understand. "I feel strange," Elias replied, searching for words. "But also, I can feel you, in my mind." Lysira nodded, her own eyes wide with surprise. "I feel it too. I can sense your worries and your kindness. I do not understand, but I am glad you are here." The old Ilarian medic entered the room, carrying a small scanner. He checked both Elias and Lysira, muttering in his own language, then looked up with serious eyes. "You are both alive, but something is not normal," the medic said. "The bond between you is very strong. I have never seen this before." Elias tried to focus. "What happens now?" The medic shook his head. "We must keep you together, at least for now. When you are apart, the readings become dangerous. Lysira's life depends on you, and maybe your life depends on her too." Suddenly, the ship's alarm began to beep. A young Ilarian crew member rushed in. "Enemy ships are close. They are scanning us. We must move quickly." Elias's training kicked in. He sat up, ignoring his weakness. "Who are they? Humans?" The crew member checked his screen. "No. Ilarian ships. Some do not want our princess back. They say she is not pure anymore. They might want to take her away, or worse." Lysira's face grew sad. "Many will not understand what happened. They are afraid of change. They may see me as a danger now." Elias looked at her. "We won't let them hurt you. I promise to help." As the ship changed course, Lysira and Elias were led to a safe room deep inside. The medic whispered, "Stay together. No matter what happens, do not let them separate you. I will try to talk to the other ships." While the medic and crew worked to hide their location, Elias and Lysira sat quietly, feeling the strange bond between them grow stronger. It was not just thoughts or feelings. They began to notice that small wounds on their bodies healed faster, and their senses felt sharper when they were close. Lysira spoke softly. "My people believe in old legends, stories about the unity, bond. It was always a myth. They said it could bring peace, but also danger." Elias smiled gently. "Maybe legends are born from truth. If we can show your people that humans and Illyrians can help each other, maybe the war can end." But Lysira shook her head, worry in her eyes. "Not everyone wants peace. Some want power or revenge." Elias nodded. He knew this truth well. Even in his own army, many hated the Illyrians, blaming them for the war's pain. The ship shook as energy blasts struck its shield. The enemy Illyrian ships had found them. Through the small window, Elias saw streaks of light as the ships chased each other through the darkness of space. The crew fought bravely to escape, but the enemy was strong. Soon the ship was forced to land on a nearby moon covered with ice and deep valleys. The crew prepared to defend themselves, but they were few against many. As the enemy ships landed nearby, Lysira grew weak. Elias held her hand, and a bright glow passed between them. She looked into his eyes. "They are coming. They will take me away. Or worse. You must not let them." Elias thought quickly. "We need to escape. If we stay here, they'll find us. Is there a way out?" Lysira nodded weakly. "Below this moon's surface, there are old mining tunnels. If we can reach them, we might hide. With help from the medic." Elias carried Lysira through the ship and out into the frozen moonlight. The wind was icy and the ground slippery. Behind them, they could hear enemy soldiers landing and shouting commands. Elias led Lysira down a hidden path toward the old tunnels. The medic stayed behind to delay the enemy, giving Elias and Lysira a few precious minutes. As they entered the dark tunnel, Elias turned back for one last look. The medic waved, then disappeared as the enemy approached. Inside the tunnels, it was cold and dark, but the strange glow from Lysira's skin helped them see. As they moved deeper, Elias felt the bond between them grow stronger. It was almost like a silent voice, guiding him, helping him stay brave and alert. After hours of walking, they reached a hidden chamber where old machines hummed quietly. They sat together, resting. Lysira leaned against Elias, her eyes full of worry. "I am afraid," she whispered. "If we are found, I do not know what they will do to us." Elias wrapped his arm around her shoulders, offering comfort. "We will face it together. You are not alone anymore." They talked softly about their lives. Lysira told stories of her peaceful home before the war. She described the beautiful gardens, the singing trees, and the floating lights that danced in the night. Elias shared stories from Earth, green forests, blue oceans, and his childhood memories. For a little while, the war seemed far away, but soon, footsteps echoed in the tunnel. The enemy had found their trail. Elias stood up, ready to fight if needed. He looked around for something to use as a weapon. Lysira touched his arm, and suddenly he felt energy flow into him. His tired muscles grew stronger, his vision sharper. It was as if her presence gave him new power. When the enemy soldiers entered, Elias faced them with courage. He spoke loudly. "If you take the princess, she will die. She needs me now. Do you want her death on your hands?" The enemy soldiers hesitated. They were Illyrians, but some looked unsure. They could see the bond between Elias and Lysira, a golden glow connecting their hands, their breathing in perfect rhythm. One soldier stepped forward, her face filled with doubt. "Is it true? If we separate you, will the princess die?" Lysira nodded weakly. "It is true. He saved me. Now we are one. Please do not harm him." The soldiers argued among themselves. Some wanted to follow orders and capture Elias, but others were afraid. They had heard of the old legend, and now, seeing it with their own eyes, they were uncertain. In the end, the soldiers backed away, leaving Elias and Lysira alone in the tunnel. The leader bowed her head. "We will tell the others what we saw. Maybe the council will listen. Maybe things will change." As the soldiers left, Elias and Lysira breathed a sigh of relief. For now they were safe. But they knew their journey was just beginning. The unity bond was real, and its power was great. They would need to travel farther, find the wise Illyrian seers, and learn the true meaning of their connection. Only then could they hope to bring peace between their peoples and end the war that had brought so much suffering. The icy tunnels of the old mining station stretched for miles beneath the frozen moon. Elias and Lysira walked carefully, their footsteps echoing softly against the stone. The golden glow from Lysira's skin was the only light guiding them. Even in her weakness, she moved with quiet grace, and Elias felt strength from the strange bond between them. He could sense her emotions as if they were his own: fear, hope, and the deep worry she felt for her people. They stopped to rest in a small alcove where an old mining cart was rusting away. Elias checked the scanner he'd taken from the ship before escaping. The device showed no enemy movement nearby, but he stayed alert. Lysira curled up beside him, her head resting gently on his shoulder. "Are you warm enough?" Elias asked. Softly, she nodded. "With you near, I feel safe, and not so cold." A faint smile appeared on her lips, but there was sadness in her eyes. For a while, they sat in silence, just listening to the low hum of the old machinery around them. Then Lysira began to talk about her childhood. She described the floating gardens of Ilaria with their bright flowers and singing birds. She told Elias how she used to run through the fields with her sister, laughing in the sunlight, never worrying about war or fear. Elias listened closely. He imagined her old world, a world now lost, perhaps forever. He wanted to protect her, but he also wanted her to find that happiness again. "We'll find a way to fix this," he promised. "Not just for you, but for everyone." Lysira looked at him with gratitude, but her voice trembled. "Many of my people may never accept what happened. They will see me as changed, different, maybe even dangerous." Elias gently squeezed her hand. "You are not alone anymore. I'm with you, whatever happens." Suddenly, the scanner blinked. It picked up a signal, a message sent on a secret, Ilarian frequency. Elias held the device close and listened. The message was short. "Seers hidden. Safe zone. North Passage, third marker. Come quickly." Lysira gasped in surprise. "The Seers! If we reach them, maybe they can help us understand this bond. Maybe they can protect us." Elias nodded. They gathered their things and followed the directions, deeper into the tunnels. The journey was long and cold, but with every step, Elias felt the bond between them grow stronger. He could sense when Lysira was tired or afraid. Sometimes he even saw flashes of her memories, a warm sun over blue water, or the smiling face of her mother. When Lysira stumbled, Elias caught her. The touch sent energy between them, and for a moment, the tunnel grew brighter. It was as if their bond was not just a connection, but a source of power. After many hours, they found the third marker, a faint blue light set into the stone. Behind it was a narrow passage. They squeezed through and entered a warm, hidden chamber, filled with gentle light. In the center, 3 Ilarian seers sat in meditation. Their skin was deep blue, and their eyes were closed, glowing softly with power. The eldest seer opened her eyes and spoke in a voice that echoed through the chamber. "Welcome, Princess Lysira, and welcome, human. We have been waiting for you." Elias bowed respectfully. Lysira knelt beside him, her voice trembling. "Honored seers, we come seeking answers. I am changed. My life is tied to this human. He saved me, but now we are connected. I do not know what to do." The eldest seer studied, them both, her eyes kind but searching. "You have formed the unity bond," she said. "Long ago, our ancestors spoke of this. It is rare, a gift, but also a test. Your fates are joined. If you are separated, harm will come to both." Elias asked, "Can the bond be broken?" The second seer, younger and sterner, shook his head. "Not without great risk. To break it could destroy you both. But together, your power may be strong enough to save many lives." The third seer, who was gentle and wise, smiled at them. "You must choose. Hide from the world, or use your bond to bring peace. The war has made many afraid. Some will see you as a threat, others as a sign of hope." Lysira listened carefully. "What should we do now?" The eldest seer pointed to a map on the wall. "A great danger grows in the north. A powerful Ilarian lord has captured many humans and Illyrians. He wants to use their suffering to start the war again. But your unity bond is strong. Together you can save the prisoners. You can show everyone that peace is possible." Elias stood tall. "We will try. Tell us what to do." The seers gave them a plan, a secret way into the enemy's fortress through the tunnels. They warned that it would be dangerous, but if Elias and Lysira could save the prisoners, they might change hearts and minds across the galaxy. Before leaving, the eldest seer placed her hands on their heads. A soft light filled the room. Elias felt his senses grow sharper and his mind clearer. The seer whispered, "The bond will help you, but it is your courage that will decide the future." Lysira and Elias left the chamber, following the map through winding tunnels. The enemy's fortress was large and well guarded. Bright searchlights swept across the snowy ground, and watchtowers bristled with weapons. But inside, in dark cells, humans and Illyrians waited, hoping for rescue. Elias and Lysira waited for nightfall. They hid in the shadows, moving quietly. When they were close to the outer wall, Lysira placed her hand on the stone, and the golden glow from their bond passed into it. A small doorway opened, unnoticed by the guards. They slipped inside. Inside the fortress, the air was thick with fear. Guards patrolled the halls, but the unity bond made Elias and Lysira brave. They moved as one, sensing each other's thoughts and feelings. When they found the prisoners, Lysira reached through the bars and touched their hands. Her touch healed small wounds and brought hope to the hopeless. Word of their arrival spread quickly among the prisoners. Soon, even some of the enemy guards began to question their orders. They saw the human and the princess working together, their courage shining in the darkness. But the Illyrian lord who ruled the fortress was cunning and cruel. He learned of the rescue and set a trap. As Elias and Lysira led the prisoners through the lower tunnels, a loud alarm rang out. Heavy doors slammed shut, blocking their escape. The Lord appeared with his soldiers, his eyes cold. "You think you can change the world with hope and kindness?" he sneered. "I will end this foolishness here." Lysira stood firm, her voice steady. "Killing us will not end hope. The unity bond cannot be broken by hate." The Lord raised a strange device, glowing with dark energy. "This will separate your bond and destroy you both. You should never have mixed human and Illyrian blood." Elias braced himself, but Lysira stepped forward, her golden eyes blazing. She reached for Elias's hand, and together they faced the device. A sudden blast of energy filled the room, but instead of hurting them, it was absorbed by the glow between them. The unity bond became stronger, shining like a sun in the darkness. The device shattered, and the Lord's soldiers fell back. In fear, the prisoners cheered. Some guards threw down their weapons and joined them. The fortress was quickly overtaken, not with violence, but with unity. Lysira spoke loudly, her voice echoing through the halls. "We are stronger together. Human or Illyrian, it does not matter. The bond we share can heal the wounds of war." The people listened. Many wept with hope. The Lord was defeated, and the prisoners were free. Elias and Lysira led them out into the fresh night air, where the stars shone bright above. For the first time in years, Elias felt hope for the galaxy, but he knew their journey was not over. The unity bond had saved them, but it was still new, still mysterious. Many would not accept it. There were more challenges ahead, powerful leaders who feared change and enemies who hated the idea of peace. The news of what happened at the fortress traveled faster than any starship. Across the galaxy, whispers of a human and an Illyrian princess freeing prisoners together reached every world. Some called it a miracle. Others called it an impossible story, made up to give people hope in dark times. But the truth could not be hidden for long. On the journey back from the fortress, Elias, Lysira, and the freed prisoners walked under a cold, bright sky. The snow crunched beneath their feet, and the tunnels echoed with voices, soft, hopeful, uncertain. Elias felt the weight of everyone's eyes on him, but Lysira's presence gave him courage. The golden glow between them grew warmer as they walked side by side. The group was not alone for long. Friendly Illyrian scouts, hearing of the rescue, joined them in the tunnels. Some were careful, keeping a distance from the human, but others approached with respect, curious about the strange bond that shone between Elias and Lysira. A few even asked Elias to shake their hands, whispering thank you in broken English. At every rest stop, Elias saw prisoners and Illyrians sharing food, water, and stories. Some spoke of lost homes and families. Others wondered aloud if the war might finally end. The princess listened to all of them. She offered quiet words and gentle smiles, and her touch seemed to bring hope even to the most broken spirits. After days of travel, the group reached the edge of a ruined city, once a proud Illyrian capital. Now only broken towers and shattered glass remained. It was here, in the shadow of old greatness, that a small ship waited for them, sent by the seers. Before boarding, Lysira stopped to look at the city's silent gardens. She remembered playing there as a child, the air full of laughter and song. The pain in her heart was deep, but she did not turn away. Instead, she held Elias's hand, drawing strength from the bond that tied them. "We cannot hide any longer," Lysira said quietly. "If peace is to come, we must go to the Illyrian Council and the human leaders. They must see us together, as we truly are." Elias nodded. "We'll face them. Together." The journey to the Illyrian Council was tense. Elias knew many would not welcome him, even as a hero. Some Illyrians watched him with cold eyes. But when they saw Lysira walk in beside him, healthy and unafraid, whispers filled the chamber. Her golden eyes shone, and the unity bond between them glimmered like a living thread. The council chamber was vast and full of old power. Elders in flowing robes sat in a circle, their faces unreadable. At the center stood the High Counselor, a stern woman with silver skin and deep blue eyes. Her voice echoed through the hall. "Princess Lysira, you have returned. We feared you lost." Lysira bowed deeply. "I was saved by this human, Captain Elias Morgan. Through him my life was restored. But more than that, through him, I have learned what unity truly means." The council murmured, some in doubt, some in awe. The High Counselor's eyes narrowed as she turned to Elias. "You have changed our princess, human. Some say you have made her impure. Others say you have given her new life. Why should we trust you?" Elias stood tall, though his hands trembled. "I didn't mean to change anyone. I just wanted to save a life. Now Lysira and I are bound together by something we don't fully understand. We are not enemies. We are proof that hope is possible, even in war." The High Counselor was silent for a moment. "Show us this bond," she said. Lysira reached for Elias's hand. The unity bond blazed gold between them. Every person in the room felt the warmth, saw the light that came from trust and care. Even the coldest hearts could not deny what they saw. The eldest seer stepped forward. "This is the unity bond of legend. It is rare and powerful. To harm one would harm the other. To break them apart would bring suffering to both." One elder stood in anger. "But what if this power is dangerous? What if the human turns against us or the bond fails?" Lysira answered with calm strength. "If you destroy the bond, you destroy me. Is that the justice of Ilaria? I ask for peace. I ask for trust." The chamber fell silent. The High Counselor considered her words, then finally nodded. "You may stay, but you must remain under watch. The council will speak with the human leaders. If your unity bond is as strong as you say, perhaps it can help end the war." Later, Lysira and Elias sat in a quiet garden outside the council hall. The golden bond shimmered gently between them, and the air was filled with the soft sound of wind in broken trees. Elias looked at Lysira. "Do you think they will accept us?" She smiled gently, a little sad. "Some will always fear what they do not know. but we must show them with our actions, not just our words. Days passed. The story of the princess and the humans spread far beyond Ilaria. Across the galaxy, humans and Illyrians wondered if the old hatreds could finally fade. Messages arrived from human generals and scientists full of questions. They wanted to test Elias, to see if his blood really could change an Illyrian. Some wanted to use the bond as a weapon or a tool for victory. Elias refused to become a laboratory. Subject: Lysira defended him in every council meeting. We are not tools. We are people. If you use us, you destroy what hope we bring. One night, an attempt was made on Elias's life. A group of masked Illyrians snuck into the garden, carrying stun rods and ropes. Elias awoke to their footsteps, but before he could move, Lysira woke as well. The golden light between them grew so bright it blinded the attackers. Their weapons fell to the ground, and the intruders ran, terrified. The next morning, the High Counselor called Elias and Lysira to her side. You are both in danger. There are those who fear what you represent. You must leave the city. The council will keep negotiating, but you should go somewhere safe until the decision is made. Elias and Lysira prepared to leave. Before they departed, many Illyrians came to say goodbye. Some were grateful, others curious, a few still angry. But there were children who smiled at them, and elders who whispered blessings for the future. Lysira hugged the eldest seer. Thank you for believing in us. You are the beginning of something new, the seer replied. The future is uncertain, but hope is stronger than fear. Elias and Lysira set off toward a hidden valley where both humans and Illyrians who wanted peace lived together. It was a small place full of simple houses and green fields. Here they could rest and heal. Here the golden glow of their bond became softer, not just a sign of survival, but of love and trust. As the days went by, Elias helped rebuild houses and teach human children. Lysira worked in the fields and healed the sick. They learned from each other, sharing old songs and new dreams. The valley grew into a place where humans and Illyrians began to forget about war and remember how to live as friends. But the outside world did not forget. Both human and Illyrian leaders argued in their councils, some demanding that the unity bond be destroyed, others insisting it was a miracle to be protected. Rumors of the failed attack spread, and old fears began to rise once more. One evening, as the sun set over the valley, a messenger arrived, out of breath and wide-eyed. The council has called for you both. They say there is news, something that could change everything. They need you in the capital now. Elias looked at Lysira. Are you ready? She squeezed his hand, and the golden glow between them pulsed with hope. We face the future together, no matter what comes. The twin sons of Ilaria were just rising when Elias and Lysira reached the capital once more. The city felt different this time. There was hope in the air, but also fear. Word had spread to every corner of the galaxy. The human and the princess had returned, and the fate of two worlds might change because of them. As they walked through the city gates, people paused and stared. Some Illyrians bowed in respect. Others turned away in silence, afraid or unsure of what the future would bring. The golden bond between Elias and Lysira glowed softly, visible to all. It was a sign of something new, something that many still struggled to understand. A group of human officers, sent from Earth, met them at the council hall. General Foster, a tall man with silver hair and kind eyes, stepped forward and saluted Elias. You've caused quite a stir, Captain Morgan, he said with a small smile. The whole galaxy's talking about you. Elias nodded, feeling the weight of everyone's expectations. We only want peace, sir. That's all we ever wanted. General Foster's face was serious. I hope the council wants the same. Inside the great hall, Both Illyrian and human leaders sat together for the first time in many years. The air was thick with tension. The High Counselor rose to speak. Her voice was clear and steady. "We are gathered here to decide what comes next. The unity bond between Princess Lysira and Captain Elias has changed everything. Some say it is a miracle. Others call it a threat. Today we must choose which path we will follow." A human scientist named Dr. Malik stood. He spoke with excitement in his voice. "We have studied the unity bond. It is not only healing, but it creates new strengths. Together, these two have powers neither had alone. This could lead to great advances if we work together." An old Illyrian general stood in anger. "Or it could destroy us. If the bond fails, both races could suffer. We must be careful." Lysira listened to the arguments, her face calm but her heart racing. When all the voices died down, she stood and faced them all. "Fear has ruled us for too long. We are stronger together. Elias risked everything to save me, not because I am a princess, but because I was in need. That is what true unity means." She reached for Elias's hand, and the bond between them flared like a sunrise. "We offer this gift to both our peoples. Let us find a new way together." Elias felt. The power of her words and his own voice rang out strong. "We are not weapons. We are not experiments. We are proof that peace is possible. Give us the chance to show you." A long silence followed. The leaders looked at each other, their faces full of doubt and hope. Finally, General Foster stood. "I believe them. It's time to lay down our old anger. Earth will join the peace talks if Ilaria will do the same." One by one, other leaders agreed. Some did so with hope, others with caution. But the mood began to shift. At last, the High Counselor spoke. "It will not be easy. There will be those who resist, but we must try. The future is calling." That night, the city was filled with celebrations and uncertainty. People sang songs of hope and remembered those lost to war. Illyrians and humans shared food and stories in the square. Children of both races chased each other under the stars. The bond between Elias and Lysira glowed brightest of all. But peace was never simple. Not everyone was happy. In the shadows, angry voices still plotted. A small group of Illyrians who feared change tried to attack the council, hoping to end the talks and silence the unity bond forever. But this time, the city was united. Guards from both species stopped the attackers, and many people stood together to defend the new peace. In Phi. The days that followed, Elias and Lysira worked harder than ever. They visited hospitals, helping to heal the wounded on both sides. They spoke to young soldiers, teaching them about kindness and unity. Many times they had to face doubt and even hatred, but they never gave up. One day, Lysira sat in the garden with a small group of human and Illyrian children. She told them stories of her home, describing the gardens that once bloomed with every color. Elias joined her, sharing tales of Earth's forests and blue oceans. The children listened wide-eyed, asking questions and dreaming about a world where all could live together. The unity bond began to inspire others. Scientists from both planets started joint projects. Illyrian and human doctors worked side by side, sharing medicines and new discoveries. Even some old enemies became friends. Slowly, the wounds of war began to heal. Still, there were challenges. The bond between Elias and Lysira was not always easy. Sometimes they felt each other's pain too deeply, or struggled to explain their feelings to others. There were moments of doubt, when fear and old habits tried to pull them apart. But every time, they chose to stand together. The seers helped them learn how to use the unity bond for good, to heal, to comfort, to inspire. They became a living bridge between two worlds, and their love for each other grew with every day. One evening, as the sun set over the city, the High Counselor came to see them. she brought a message from both councils. "The war is over," she said quietly. "A treaty has been signed. We have you to thank for this new hope." Elias felt tears in his eyes, and Lysira squeezed his hand. For the first time in a long while, peace seemed real. There was a grand celebration in the capital. People from every corner of the galaxy came. Illyrians wore their brightest robes, and humans brought gifts from Earth. Music filled the air, and for once, everyone danced together. At the center of it all stood Elias and Lysira, the living symbol of unity. Leaders asked for their blessing, and children wanted to touch the golden light that glowed between them. After the celebration, Elias and Lysira returned to the valley where they had first found peace. Life there was simple and full of joy. Together they planted a new garden on land that had once been ruined by war. Side by side, they watched the first flowers bloom. One morning, as birds sang and the sky turned gold, Lysira spoke softly. "Do you think we really changed the world?" Elias smiled. "I think we gave it a chance." They sat quietly, watching the children of the valley, Illyrian and human, play together in the sunlight. The unity bond glowed gently between them, a reminder of everything they had been through and everything still to come. Years passed, but the story of the human and the alien princess was never forgotten. It was told in every school and sung in every city. People remembered how a single act of kindness, a gift of blood, had started a chain reaction that changed the fate of two worlds. Whenever hope was needed, people looked to the valley, to Elias and Lysira, and to the bond that defied all logic. And each time they found the courage to try again, to reach out to others and to build a peace that would last for generations.